My dear students, I welcome you all to my educational channel, the name of which is Priyankar Datto. In this educational channel, you will find video presentations on English language and literature of school level, college level, as well as of competitive examinations. Now, today's assignment is a video presentation on the poem entitled A Photograph. The name of the poetess is Shirley Toulson. The topic to be covered in today's presentation is broad questions and their answers from the poem A Photograph. Let us move to the next slide to look at the first question and its probable answer. The first broad question from this poem is: how would you justify the title of the poem, A Photograph? The answer is, the title of Shirley Toulson's poem refers to an object, namely a photograph. Naturally, a reader becomes curious to know about the relationship between the photograph and the poetess. The poem does not disappoint him or her, as it tells that the photograph is actually the photograph of her mother when she was a teenager. It also tells that the photograph makes the mother of the poetess laugh. We are in the middle of the sentence, so let us move to the next slide to look at the rest of the sentence as well as the rest part of the answer. So I am continuing from the previous slide, and that her laughter provides satisfaction to the poetess. However, it points out that the death of the poetess's mother changes the significance of the photograph from being a source of satisfaction to the level of being a reminder of the death of her mother. It is by virtue of poetizing this changing significance of the photograph that the poem justifies its title. Let us move to the next slide to look at the next broad question and its probable answer. The next broad question from this poem is: how does Shirley Toulson depict her relationship with the photograph in the poem A Photograph? The answer is, Shirley Toulson depicts her relationship with the photograph in two different phases. The first phase refers to the time when her mother is alive. At this time, you must not write at that, you must write at this time. Her mother describes the background of the photograph. This makes the photograph a living entity. The photograph produces laughter in her mother, and that is what endears the photograph. We are once again in the middle of the sentence, as was in the case of the previous question. So let us move to the next slide. I am continuing from the previous slide to the poetess. In the second phase, that is, after the death of the poetess's mother, there is a typing error here. There is no one to explain the circumstance of the photograph. So, the photograph loses its special meaning to the, there is once again a typing error. It should be poetess. Its special meaning to the poetess. Thus, it serves as a painful reminder of the death of her mother, who, however, figures in the photograph. In this way, in the second phase, her feeling changes from one of happiness to one of sadness. Let us move to the next slide. We have come here. So there is a new question. The question is, what is the central idea of Shirley Toulson's poem A Photograph? This word should be written in capital letter. Okay, because it is a part or rather an important word of the title of the poem? The answer of this question is human life is a part of the pattern of flux. Therefore, it keeps on changing from time to time. A person in his or her boyhood or girlhood spends a joyful life. Then, as the person enters a familiar life, he or she is burdened with duties and responsibilities. So, the reminiscences of boyhood or girlhood days, by virtue of an object, produces. You must not write a here. Okay, you must delete the word. So rather, I am deleting the word. Okay, produces laughter. It makes the object a coveted one to his or her near and dear ones. Let us move to the next slide to look at the remaining part of the answer. Finally, when the person embedded in the object passes away, the object itself stands as a reminder of his or her earthly existence. Thus, not only human life but also the object intimately associated with it keeps on assuming changed significance. Let us move to the next slide to look at the next question and its probable answer. The next question is, what is the central theme of Shirley Toulson's A Photograph? The answer is Shirley Toulson's A Photograph poetizes the theme of the changing role of a photograph in the life of the poetess. When the poetess's mother was alive, the photograph made her remember of her spending there is a typing error here of her spending her holiday at a seaside place with her two cousins, Dolly and Betty. Moreover, the photograph made her laugh. Let us move to the next slide to look at the remaining part of the answer. Since this feeling was otherwise absent in her life, the photograph had a positive meaning to the poetess. However, with the death of the mother, the photograph loses its positive meaning. It comes to remind the poetess of the reactions of her mother to the photograph, which are now absent. Therefore, her mood changes to sadness. Let us move to the next slide to look at the next question, or rather the final question from this poem. The question is, comment on the use of images in Shirley Toulson's A Photograph. The answer is, Shirley Toulson's A Photograph is rich in imagery. The first image is of the sea. This image is created by the shallow water of the sea, which washes the feet of the three girls in the photograph. The presence of the sea is felt in the powerful gust of wind, which makes the hair of the three girls fly. However, the key image in the poem is of the photograph. It captures a moment of the poetess's mothers. As in some previous questions, we are here in the middle of the sentence. So let us move to the next slide to look at the remaining part of the sentence as well as the remaining part of the answer. I am continuing from the previous slide. Going to a seaside place to spend her holidays. It makes the mother laugh, and this laughter provides satisfaction to the poetess. This image assumes a negative meaning when it reminds the poetess of the death of her mother. Thus, the image of the death of the poetess's mother also comes into account. So this full stop sign should be in this type of blue color. So I have changed it. So before I conclude, let me request you to subscribe to my channel, to share my video presentations, to comment your opinion and to put forward your queries. Thank you. See you again in my next video presentation. Thank you once again.